In the beginning, it was as though we were being told a story by the gods about the secrets of the world. Physical laws did not apply to us. Look at you and I see a glimmer of Adam again, the man we knew, the man we tried to help. Our world was born on economic freedom, deemed with life. There was evening and morning on the fifth day, and it was all good. We begged the Creator to set you free, but He was always silent. And now you claim you're ready, when it is diversity who broke the world? Came together as one, to tell the story together. It started at the fountain of youth, when the Creator made man by His side bone, father and mother of us all. He gave them a choice: follow the temptation of darkness, or hold on to the blessing of light. The Creator formed us on the second day. We watched over Adam and Eve, saw their frailty and their love. Then we saw their fall, and we pitied them. We were not man then, but light. It was not our place to interfere, yet we chose to try and help mankind. And when we disobeyed the Creator, He punished us. We were lost in your world, flesh shackled, our fiery glow. Still we taught mankind all we know of creation. Help, they rose from the dust and became a great and mighty nation. Then they turned our gifts into violence. We were hunted, most of us killed. Man turned our gifts into violence. Man turned our gifts into greed. They killed each other for thousands of years. And now it's time to tell the secrets of the world.
NFP Secrets with Currency Godz Elite Club. Hello, my name is Robert Ritchie. I'm a financial strategist for Currency Godz Elite Club. I'll now take you through the steps of NFP Secrets and how to capitalize off the non-farm payroll. Be sure to pay attention and to take notes. You might have to watch this video a few times.
Trying to pay for something with a piece of paper, you might run into some trouble. Unless, of course, the piece of paper was a $100 bill. But what is it that makes that bill so much more interesting and valuable than other pieces of paper? After all, there's not much you can do with it. You can't eat it. You can't build things with it, and burning it is actually illegal. So what's the big deal? Of course, you probably know the answer. A $100 bill is printed by the government and designated as official currency, while other pieces of paper are not. But that's just what makes them legal. What makes a $100 bill valuable, on the other hand, is how many or few of them are around. Throughout history, most currency, including the US dollar, was linked to valuable commodities, and the amount of it in circulation depended on a government's gold or silver reserves. But after the US abolished the system in 1971, the dollar became what is known as fiat money, meaning not linked to any external resource, but relying instead solely on government policy to decide how much currency to print. So which branch of our government sets this policy? The executive, the legislative, or the judicial? The surprising answer is none of the above. In fact, monetary policy is set by an independent Federal Reserve System, or the Fed, made up of 12 regional banks in major cities around the country. Its Board of Governors, which is appointed by the President and confirmed by the Senate, reports to Congress, and all of the Fed's profit goes into the U.S. Treasury. But to keep the Fed from being influenced by the day-to-day vicissitudes of politics, it is not under the direct control of any branch of government. So why doesn't the Fed just decide to print infinite $100 bills to make everyone happy and rich? Well, because then the bills wouldn't be worth anything. Think about the purpose of currency, which is to be exchanged for goods and services. If the total amount of currency in circulation increases faster than the total value of goods and services in the economy, then each individual piece will be able to buy a smaller portion of those things than before. This is called inflation. On the other hand, if the money supply remains the same while more goods and services are produced, each dollar's value would increase in a process known as deflation. So which is worse? Too much inflation means that the money in your wallet today will be worth less tomorrow, making you want to spend it right away. So while this would stimulate business, it would also encourage overconsumption or hoarding commodities like food and fuel, raising their prices and leading to consumer shortages and even more inflation. But deflation would make people want to hold on to their money, and a decrease in consumer spending would reduce business profits, leading to more unemployment and a further decrease in spending, causing the economy to keep shrinking. So most economists believe that while too much of either is dangerous, a small, consistent amount of inflation is necessary to encourage economic growth. The Fed uses vast amount of economic data to determine how much currency should be in circulation, including previous rates of inflation, international trends, and the unemployment rate. Like in the story of Goldilocks, they need to get the numbers just right in order to stimulate growth and keep people employed without letting inflation reach disruptive levels. The Fed not only determines how much that paper in your wallet is worth, but also your chances of getting or keeping the job where you earn it.
What is NFP? NFP is the non-farm payroll or non-farm employment change, and it calculates the total number of paid U.S. workers of any business, but excludes government employees, private household employees, farm employees, and employees of non-profit organizations. It accounts for 80% of the workforce who produce the entire GDP of the U.S., and is a statistic researched, recorded, and reported by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics and is released on every first Friday of every month. The unemployment rate indicates the percentage of total labor force that is unemployed but actively seeking employment and willing to work. How do we interpret the NFP figures itself? If actual data comes in lower than economists' estimates, US dollar weakens, so expect to short USD. Any pair concerning USD, expect to go short. If actual data comes in higher than economists' estimates, USD strengthens, so expect to go long on all USD pairs. What currency pairs to trade? Most often the best currency pairs to trade on NFP are USD-JPY or XAU-USD. Gold. The reason is because the news is US-based news event, so those two pairs will be affected the greatest by the data release. When is the NFP? NFP news releases due at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on the first Friday of every month. Tips and tricks. Tip: keep current on financial news, especially on the U.S. labor market and employment conditions. This will help you trade the NFP. Start by watching how the markets closed the day before non-farm payroll. I watched the end of the day of financial news. the following day of NFP, or the day before NFP. CNBC and Bloomberg, but don't necessarily trade off the information that the analysis and traders share on the news. Look for a majority consensus on the numbers they think will be reported and how they think the market will react. Use this information to see where the majority agreement is. What time frame is best to trade? Well, honestly, this is a matter of opinion. For this strategy, use a 5-minute chart to identify a breakout candle. How many pips to risk on NFP? Risk no more than 20 or 30 pips. When we're creating our data sheet, we want to use the global economic calendar and go to the first Friday of the current month. For example, February 2nd, 2018 is the first Friday for non-farm payroll. So what I would do is I'm going to copy the previous non-farm payroll number and the date and exactly this information here. Once this information is copied, I'm going to add it to a Word document to create a data sheet. Once I have my data sheet mapped out with the previous unemployment rate, the previous non-farm payroll rate, and the previous labor participation rate, NFP strategy, step 1. You must now collect the data to determine which direction NFP and unemployment rates will go. Follow these steps in order. Step 1. Find how many individuals have been laid off for the current month and create a data sheet. To find layoffs for the current month, visit http://www.dailyjobcuts.com. Example: January announced U.S. layoff total estimate of negative 18,532. All of these rates and previous rates can be found on the Global Economic Calendar or dailyfx.com-calendar. By strolling through, I can see the USD change in non-farm payroll. I can also see the USD employment rate, and the previous rates are what I want and what I need to make this strategy work. Now what I'm going to do is visit dailyjobcuts.com. Once I'm on dailyjobcuts.com, there's only one section that I'm looking at. I'm looking right below where it says layoffs, and I'm going to copy this information telling me exactly how many layoffs they occurred this month, and that way I can add that information to my data sheet. NFP strategy, step 2. You must now take the data you collected to determine if unemployment rates will go up or down. Step 2. To get the difference in the unemployment rate, you must first find the fraction of the whole number. Layoff rates equal unemployment rates. To equal a positive or negative percent in order to add or subtract from current unemployment percentages. To find percent for the current month, visit percent-calculators.com-converting-a-number-to-a-percent. To find percent for the current month, visit the website above and type in how many layoffs for that month and press enter. Next, you will convert the decimal given to a percent. Converting a decimal to a percent. To do so, you must take this decimal given and move the decimal over one space from the first number and round to the nearest hundredth. This is your percentage to add to your current rate. Example: 18,532 equals 1853,200%. When I move the decimal over from the first number, I get 1.8%. Once I round to the nearest hundredth, my unemployment rate has gone up 2%. I'm going to take this 18,567 and I'm going to visit percent-calculators.com, converting the number to a percent, and I'm going to enter that number and press enter. To the right, the answer will be there. Once I have that number, I can copy it, plug it into my data sheet, and now I have step 1 of my equation. Once this number is found, what I have to do is move my decimal over 1 point from the 1 to the 8. So from this 1, I'm going to put a decimal right in the middle of these two numbers. This will give me 1.8 percent. Once I have that 1.8%, I must now round to the nearest hundred. So that 1.8% will actually be 2%. So when I have this 2%, NFP strategy, step 3. You must now find the labor force participation rate from last year for that exact month and add it to your data sheet. To find the labor force participation rate, visit data.bls.gov-time-series.LNS11300000. Labor force participation rate is telling you how many individuals are actively working. In order for this strategy to work, you must apply the unemployment rate difference found in step 2. You must add the increase percentage that the unemployment rate equation gave you. Now minus this percent from last year's labor participation rate for that exact month to get a projection. Example, solving for January 2018 non-farm payroll and unemployment rates. US dollar labor force participation rate last year, January 2017, was 62.9%. Unemployment has gone up 2% since December according to step 2. So now we do 62.9 minus 2 equals 62.7% for our labor force participation rate. So USD labor force participation rate for January of 2018 projection is 62.7%. Next thing I have to do, and the reason why this is so important to follow the steps in order, is because this is going to give me a chance to be able to figure out what my unemployment rate will be after I figure out if this number went up or down. I'll be able to minus or add. In this case, I'll have to add it to 4%. So my projection for unemployment rate is going to be 4.3%. So let's talk about why that works. If unemployment rate is calculating how many people are unemployed, then if people are getting laid off, for example, that's letting us know that our unemployment rate has gone up. Once we know that unemployment rate has gone up, then we can project what the unemployment rate will be for this current term and for this current NFP and unemployment rate, which are both released on the first Friday of every month. The next thing I want to do, and why this number is so important, is because now I want to figure out what the labor force participation rate is. With my labor force participation rate, I'm going to visit data.bls.gov LNS 11300000, and it's going to bring up a chart from a whole data sheet of previous labor force participation rates. I want to find the year before this rate. So in this case, I'm solving for January. So I'm going to look at the January year, and I'm going to copy that number, 62.9. I'm going to add this number here. Once I have 62.9 here, now what the labor force participation rate is saying, how many people are employed in the US that are actually working every single day. So for this fact, in this case scenario, I know that I have to minus 2% because 2% of the workers are not working. So this will bring me to 62.7%. Once I have that 62.7%, that's my projection for the labor force participation rate. So now I've solved for US layoffs, labor force participation rate, and unemployment rate. NFP strategy step 4. You must now use data collected to determine NFP projections. NFP formula uses previous NFP rates divided by labor participation rate. Example, 148,000 divided by 6.7% equals 22,809. Now I do 148,000 plus 22,089 equals 170,089. Now I round to the nearest hundred. USD change in non-farm payrolls should be, for January, should be 170,000. Now what I have to do is apply a concept called PEMDAS. Parentheses, exclamation point, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. When I'm solving for PEMDAS, I'm going to do 148,000 divided by the labor force participation rate, which would be 62.7. This will equal 22,089. Once I have 22,089, now I have to do my addition. I'm going to do 148,000 plus 22,089, and this is going to equal 170,089. The key thing to always remember is to round to the nearest hundred. So in this case, instead of being 170.1 thousand jobs created, I'm just going to say 170,000 jobs created. So that's my forecast. This is my projection for non-farm payroll. This is my projection for unemployment rates. And this is my projections for the labor force participation rate. Following these simple steps, I have finished my data sheet for NFP. So now I've created a bias. My bias for NFP for the non-farm payroll is going to be bullish, because this number is greater than the previous number. When you think of fundamentals, this bias will actually be considered hawkish. Hawkish means bullish in fundamental analysis aspect of it, and this projection would be bearish, or in fundamental aspects considered dovish, which means this number is worse than this previous number. So which means the unemployment rate will be going down, but the NFP going up. So now we have a battle of the bands. These two pairs, or these two outlooks and projections, one of them will win. Usually the non-farm payroll will hold a little more strength than the unemployment rate would be, but once we follow our strategy and go through the certain steps, remember, This is just a biased opinion before NFP is released. You have now created a bias. Now you're ready for the strategy. Here's step 1. The NFP figure causes the price to spike in a direction. Up or down is irrelevant. The price continues up or down for a minute or a couple of minutes and then pauses without breaking the new extreme high or low. Now you must wait for a pullback. Bias created. Now strategy step 2. Nothing is done during the first bar after NFP report, 8:30 to 8:45 a.m. in that case of 15-minute chart. After the direction is established at 8:45 a.m. EST, follow the trend. So after 3 consecutive candlesticks on the 5-minute chart, enter in the direction of the current market. At this time, take a trade in the direction of the breakout. Enter a trade as soon as the bar moves past the new high or low without waiting for that candlestick to close. Place a 20 to 30 pip stop on the trade you enter. If the market does not continue in your direction and you are stopped out, do not re-enter. Once you are in profit, place a trailing stop in profit to secure all gains. Congratulations! You now know how to trade NFP like a professional. The market will continue to move in the established direction for the remainder of the day. The week of is to go through these steps and figure out a biased opinion. That way we can see what our projections will be. What I do sometimes is I check and see what these other news outlets say. So they project 165,000. We projected 170,000. So in that case, the majority would be a bullish outlook on non-farm payroll. For unemployment rates, they project 4.1%, so they say it would stay the same. And we project 4.3%. We say that it will change. If we go to the labor force participation rate, 62.77% was the previous rate. So we say that this market or this outlook will remain the same for the simple fact of us doing the research and the groundwork to figure out how it works best and why it works best. So we've created a good bias outlook on NFP and the non-farm payroll.
Why go and buy a car when you can own the whole dealership? When you can own the whole lot? That don't make sense. Why go buy a house? If you're into houses, why not be a realtor? If you into cars, why not buy the lot? If you into food, buy the restaurant. You know what I'm saying? This is logic. This is facts. You know what I'm saying? This is about next level thinking. Stop trying to keep up with the Joneses and keep up with yourself. If you into that shit, make that shit happen, you know? This is my guy right here. And we came all the way from the bottom. You hear me? I'm talking about sugar bread, Roman noodles, syrup on the bread. Look, Tell them about the city. Choke sandwiches.
Choke sandwiches.
You know what I'm saying?
Stomach.
They don't know nothing about that,
Oh
man.
my God, in line.
And that's it.
Think it's a game.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Still in the hood, still round up to no good. Chop on the back seat. I wish a fuck nigga would. Like I don't know no better. I'ma squeeze like the boy Hugh Hefner. We don't know no better. If you run at the bull, I'll fetch you. Yeah, nigga never loved us. Yeah, all these bitches love us. Everybody calling my phone. Where were y'all at when I was growing up? If I don't know him, I'ma tell him. The truth is, I don't know that fella. Yeah, he gon' fold on the pressure. Truth is, he don't know no better. Yeah, 2 cup round, no liquor. 2 door, no rule, this filter. Walked in smelling like a motherfucking bag. With all my niggas, yeah. Ran through a whole lot of motherfucking cash. With all my niggas, yeah. Hate when they say they gon' do right, always doing wrong. Fuck wrong with them, I did it for all of my niggas. I switch up my auto, little nigga. This is an auto, my nigga. Coulda went and bought another vehicle. Turned out the hood, bought them all the vehicles. Yeah, can't wait to go ride on them niggas. We cannot wait to collide with them niggas. No, we do not have no niggas. Where I come from, we was always them niggas. Mason Margiela, why were you stubborn? We wanted extra, so we got extra. No, I never needed me no investor. Yeah, just call me a P, feel like plastic. Yeah, rhyme with P and that test. That's my sauce. I got it forever, but still don't know no better. Yeah, look where I came from. Look at these diamonds, nigga, I came far. Yeah, but still don't know no better. Yeah. A nigga don't know no better. Yeah, took a whole lot to get here, motherfucker can't turn back never. No, been through a lot, little nigga, but still don't know no better. Yeah, big keep calling my phone. Fuck wrong with her. Bitch don't know no better. Yeah. They had me to sign. Why should I sign? Yeah. I walk around with a dime. I got like a dime times a dime. I fuck up a dime at a time. You fucked up a dime on your time. You need to stop wasting your time. I spent like 100 for mine. Yeah, I put them pointers in mine. I can rhyme every time. Bitch say she ain't fucking, she lying. Make them bitches form a line. We got no 100, we buying, nigga. And every dozen that's a dime, nigga. I don't play by my shine, nigga. Shoot this bitch out like I'm Brian, nigga. We came in first, we would never laugh. Told them 100 won't never last. Shit, I got 100 right now in the Louis band. Foot on the pedal, might do the dad. I'm on the lean, I might crash, yeah. Fuck the bitch, I got a man, yeah. Got her calling me dad. Kick the bitch out of my pants. We got a lot of it. Talking about gold, got a pot of it. When you win it, it's hard to get out of it. Jumped in that water, came out of it. You probably wouldn't made it up out of it. I probably go do the lava. I really do be with Shada. My daddy is really a roster, but still don't know no better. Yeah, look where I came from. Look at these diamonds, nigga, I came far. Yeah, but still don't know no better. Yeah. A nigga don't know no better. Yeah, took a whole lot to get here, motherfucker can't turn back never. No, been through a lot, little nigga, but still don't know no better. Yeah, big keep calling my phone. Fuck wrong with her. Bitch don't know no better. Yeah. We came in first, we would never laugh. Told them 100 won't never laugh. Did it for all of my niggas. This is all of my niggas.
Federal Reserve with the guys. History of money. Come on, say what's up, brother. Mandeep.
What's up, guys? What's up?
What's going on? Federal Reserve right there. Finna go in there. Got my guy right in front of Wintrust.
What's up?
What's going on, man?
Grind time.
How is treating you? You think it's good?
Yeah.
Having a good
Beautiful.
time?
Yeah.
Good.
It's nice out here in Chicago.
Yeah. My boys from Canada, we going hard, baby. But
So cold,
I'm froze.